week, and I hope I can transfer that strangeness to you in a good way. So just, I invite you please to think about the next couple of hours. I do this spiel every time, and I don't want it to become a thing. I just want it to be genuinely what you do in this next 2 hours. Think that you're habituating the new you. Whatever you come seeking, there's something that brings you in the door. Why? And it probably, I don't know if you've asked yourself every time, why do you come? Why do you come? What are you learning for? What's the point? You know, and I think it's got something to do about changing the state from where you are to where you want to be. What's that new state look like? Do you believe all this stuff? How are you using it? What's it for? I invite you please to think those questions seriously, honestly, openly, rawly, and take the 2 hours now to play with a new state of being. Just say, let's see if I can feel what it looks like to be there. See if I can look with new eyes and hear with new ears. And it should be a happy thing. It should be sublime. It should be like, wow, what would it be like if I had no suffering, no niggling? What would I hear if I had no concerns of things threatening me? What would I hear in a world where I could see people as beautiful, as every word as an opportunity to see something enlightened in my world? So what would you listen like? And so I invite you to do that. Whatever stuff you've got hanging around you that's a concern, that's a danger to you, that's a, leave it out for two hours, you know, and you probably come in and out for the next 2 hours, and just remind yourself this is your private time to get soaked into something that you can then sponge out when you go through the weeks. We've got 4 years left, or a bit more, three and a half years left of immersing ourselves in ideas that are mostly foreign to us, and give that time, sponge that in. You'll be changed by you, for you, and this is where you do the practice. 2 hours every week. What's the perfect you? I invite you to see that. Yeah, it's in there somewhere. Hello. It's very serious today. Is it serious today?
Hello, legs.
Thank you. Hello, legs. Good. Let's do. Thank you. Let's do a traditional mandala offering. The source of this, the meaning for this, is you are imagining that perfect world, and it's a trick, by the way, because the mind that's imagining a perfect world must imagine perfection, right? And the mind habituates its reality before the reality comes. So we're tricking you into imagining a perfect world so you can create a perfect world. Yeah. So imagine a perfect world the best you can, and give that away to that thing that teaches you. We call that your guru, your teacher, your lama. It could be anything that's channeling knowledge to you. You'll find out where that is. So you offer that in exchange for teachings.
Sashi Bukir Shin Metotram Rira Vinshin Pari Sange Shindu Mite Vivari Drogunanda Shinla Jupasho Yang Guru Ratna Mandala Hamninyatayami Sange Shirang Sakir Jagnanda Shamshu Vardu Agni Kyapsuchi Daki Shinye Gipe Sonangi Rola Benchir Sange Drupasha Soki Choknanga Janchu Vardu Dakni Gapsuchi Daki Chinye Gipe Sonam Ki Rola Pinchir Sangye Drupasho Sangye Churang Soki Choknanga Janchu Vardu Dakni Kapsuchi Daki Jinye Gipe Sonam Ki Drola Binchir Sangye Drupasho.
That last part was to prompt us to take refuge in three things: the Buddha jewel, the Dharma jewel, and the Sangha jewel. What the hell does that mean? What's that mean? Someone?
Emptiness.
It just means the emptiness. It means that the Buddha jewel is the emptiness of your mind. It will be the same as the emptiness of your mind when you're enlightened. The Dharma jewel is the ultimate of all things, which is the core, the code of the matrix, which things don't have an existence from their own side. Therefore, the way we're experiencing comes from something else, dependently arising, dependent origination. But the potential for those things to be absolutely anything is there. So that we're taking refuge in that, and that there are some beings who know that intrinsically, they've experienced it. And we want to hang around them because they can teach us. Because the only saving you're going to have on this planet, that's why they're called refuge. If you realize that every single experience you have is dependently arising on a blank screen, that that's the fact of where we live, then the way you relate to everything you live can produce a perfected world, doesn't have to produce a crappy world. That's the only saving. That's why it's refuge. It saves you from pain. That's what that blah blah is. And that's all we should be thinking when we do the words. So I invite you to think about that. How do you take refuge? Listening to this blah blah today. If we can make things complicated. But before we go there, let me check what today's homework meditation is, so we can meditate on that. So then when you do the rest of your week, you know what your mind should be doing. And it is. I feel like I've just won something. And the winner is ready to hear what your meditation assignment is?
Yeah.
Ready? Here we go. Analytic meditation on whether or not the three reasons of the Charvakas are true or false. You don't know what that is yet, do you? I mean, some of you know what Charvakas. So at the end of the class today, I'm going to teach you that there are three ways. The Charvakas were this group of people that Dharmakirti ran into when we're doing this whole long discussion, right, about this is a course on past and future lives. We haven't even talked about it yet. We've talked about correct perception, so we could talk about a being who can become a correct perception, a valid, perfect being. What was that called? Atsema Kyote, right? Atsema. Come on.
She knows it.
What was it? Kirpa. Thank you. Just checking. So we haven't even talked past and future lives. So Master Dharmakirti is talking about Master Dignaga's book, and he's saying, let's talk about what's a valid perception, what's a correct perception, and then he talks about a being who can become that thing. In other words, a being who can only speak what they validly cognize as true. Yeah, and he argues that the Buddha can see ultimate and relative reality at the same time, and that anything he says must be correct. And then we talked a little bit about why would that be correct. We talked that he taught these 4 Arial truths, 4 noble truths. And really the only one we could confirm is the first of those 4, which is suffering. The second one being suffering has a cause, and it's not what we think. Number 3 is there's a way out. You don't have to live this kind of shitty life where things break up. And lastly is that there's a way to get it, right? And out of those, if you're really truly honest, so today as Buddhists or trying to Buddhists or investigating humans or scientists of the modern era, I don't know what the hell you want to call yourselves, you should apply judgment and analysis to these questions that we're posing to you. And they are foreign to us, so you should have a shelf that should be very full of things that you're not sure about, right? But out of those 4 statements, life is suffering. By the way, the truth of suffering does not refer to the idea that there's a fact that things break up and that there's suffering, right? It doesn't refer to that. The truth of suffering, the reality of suffering, refers to you and me and things. That we are the truth of suffering. This thing, this being, this way is the truth of suffering. Not that it's a truth that people suffer. You see the difference? It's talking about the object, which is us and all creatures in samsara. That is the truth of suffering. The reality that we are, as soon as we're born, destined to go through this cycle. And that's the only one really you can, out of the things that the Buddha spoke, that's the only thing really you can confirm. You live it every millisecond, and until your 30s you don't realize it, but most of the time it's getting at you. And out of the 4 Arial truths, which is the first thing the Buddha spoke after he achieved enlightenment, really, in our state of being, if you're a human like me, that's the only one you can say, he said that so perfectly, so correctly, I can't refute it with anything. It is perfectly correct. He's turned correct for that one. The other 3, you can't. And honestly, neither can I. I can't tell you definitely that there is a cause to that suffering separate from the big God that made me upset, or really do I know that for a certainty? Not like I know the first one. The first one I know for sure. Do I know that suffering can end really? Do you think that you could live forever? Do you know that? Like suffering? No. If you're honest, and if you're not some kind of angelic creature pretending to listen to my class because I'm some dude that's got this in his head and figured out he has to share it with other people. And then the last one, that there's certain steps that you can do to get there. I can't confirm that. So, the truth of suffering is us. It's the only one we can be. We can say out of all the information we have about the world, it's so clear, it is so perfectly accurate, there's no maneuvering out of that fact. And because he said that, he was totally correct, assuming that he said the other things correct. We talked about that last class, right? It's the only faith you can have, really. Intelligent faith, logical faith. And then what else did we talk about last week? Anyone? I forgot. Omniscience, right? Omniscience. And then Master Dharmakirti met up with a bunch of people who said the only kind of omniscient being that there could possibly be, we don't believe that there's this thing called a Buddha that you can get to be totally omniscient. The only omniscient being that we think is possible is one that created the world as well. This world we live in. The only omniscience that could be had is that of the creator of this world. All-powerful, creator of everything. And I didn't get to finish it last week, but Dharmakirti said, well, that's sort of impossible, right? Oh no, that's right. So then they said omniscience is fixed, is permanent. The Creator is a permanent thing, an unchanging thing. And Dharmakirti said, why does it have to be changing? He's got to be changing. Let's say if he's omniscient, he's got to be changing. Why?
Because our minds are changing.
Correct. Yeah. So the mind perceiving everything, and the majority of everything is changing. So that mind perceiving it, like a mirror reflecting, is changing. It's changing the experience, the image reflected on it. Yeah. So we're weaving through all these weird things, and we haven't even talked about past and future lives. What the hell, right? So then you'll see that that debate went to say, well, now, Mr. Dharmakirti, that you said omniscience is changing because it's a state of mind, yeah, and that mind perceives changing things, and therefore it must be changing. Yeah, we're all there. Is that fair? We're all there. Good. So then they said, well, are you telling me that when it sits on an unchanging object, it's permanent, it's unchanging? Like resting that omniscience on emptiness, because remember, omniscience is supposed to see ultimate and relative. And Master Dharmakirti said, well, not necessarily. Yeah? He changed the argument a little bit and said, the mind goes in and out of attention onto the objects. Yeah? And therefore the mind is changing. Plus, there's arguments that weren't in Dharmakirti's book, but we know through other discussion that if it's a mind, if it's a state of mind, and you consider your mind, it's changing. Because it's a produced thing. Yeah, this moment of mind produced the previous moment of mind, produced the previous moment of mind. That's why we send people to school. You change the mind a little bit, and then that changed stuff is in your mind. And then with that state of mind, you look at the world differently, with numbers and so on. You can add up. You can influence your mind, you can change your mind. It's changed moment to moment. So we're weaving through all these things, and today he's going to come across the Charvakas, and the Charvakas are going to give him 3 arguments at the end of class that say, so I'll do the punchline, that say there's no such thing as a Buddha, because it would require a long bloody time to produce, and that would require past and future lives, like many lifetimes. Yeah, and I'll explain how we get to that. And there are 3 arguments. Well, I'll sum it up into one, which is what the meditation will be interested in now. Is that the mind, your consciousness, is totally dependent on your body. You know, like that you have consciousness is dependent on the body being created. Consciousness appears, yeah, as a result of the physicality of your body. And the fact of that, the arguments they're going to give you is that, you know, when you see a body moving around, and like you talking and having experiences, it's got consciousness. And when something kills it, it flops around for a little bit, and then when it stops flopping, there's no more mind. And we all can see that. That's a fairly good argument. As experience, we see that. So that stopped moving. So there's no more consciousness in that. It's dependent upon the body. Without body, you can't have consciousness. That's a fairly good argument that the Charvakas are saying. Are we there? Yeah? So that's what we're going to meditate on. I want you to meditate for the next few minutes. I'll lead you on whether or not that thing that is you, your mind. Hey, homeworks and quizzes. Maybe? Welcome to summer. That thing that you call your mind is dependent on that thing you call your body. Yeah? So, you're all very quiet. Is it just me talking today?
Yes.
Good. That's the way it should be.
I meditate in Shabbat.
Yeah, you can go. Yeah, seriously. You okay? You look really.
I got a lot of sun.
I can see it. Do you need some water?
No, I wouldn't. Thank you.
That means spray on you. I'm turning off phones. All phones off, ladies and gentlemen. I hadn't turned mine off. We're meditating on whether or not your consciousness, your mind, your awareness is dependent on your body. Yeah? So we'll do a quick 7-step. We'll go to the golden room like I told you last time, and then we'll go sit in front of somebody and get them to help us meditate on that. Ladies and gentlemen, take a posture. Anyone not meditated before? Yeah, so just be comfortable. The key here is that your back is straight and your vertebrae stacked one on top of the other, and there's something like pulling you up. Hands here, 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 here. There's no room. If you can get your butt a little higher, it'll be better. Yeah. Excellent.
Here.
Thank you. And just once you've settled into your body, breathe a little. Breathe through your nostrils. Close your eyes just enough to let light in and not shapes and colors, just light. Scan your body to say, I'm leaving you alone for just a few minutes. No itch, no hurt, no pain, no tension will be addressed. We'll get back to you in just 5 minutes. So do a final scan to relax any tension on your thighs, your hips, your torso. Tuck in your stomach just a little bit to support that lower back. Check your shoulders are not leaning forward or too far back. They're just relaxed. And remove any tension you have in your face, your neck, particularly around your eyelids and forehead. Just relax. And focus your mind on your breath entering and exiting your nostril. Press your mind tightly against the sensation of the air moving at the tip of your nostril. As you breathe, you should begin to notice that your breath gets a little bit longer as you relax into the focus. And this time, follow your breath deeply into your body, and as it does, transform the inside of your body to a deep sky blue. Expansive blue inside, everything else disappears. You breathe in and out normally, just naturally without forcing. But every inhale turns everything inside you translucent, without edges. You are now in front of a massive blue sky. It has no edges. You're lost in the blueness, in the infinity of this blue. And now imagine that you are standing in a room, just a room like a cabin, far away from everything, in some distant mountain, very high up on the mountain, very isolated. You see a massive valley in front of you. The blue is the blue sky that edges on the mountain range. You're in your golden room, we call it. And it's golden because the sun is setting on the horizon and it's pouring its last rays of light into your room. You turn your attention now to singular cushions in the middle of the room, and you find yourself seated there now, completely relaxed, utterly focused on your breath. perfectly pressing your mind against the inhale and exhale. Your body is very sharp and aware. Your mind is completely pressed against the breath. And you ask your teacher to come. Any being that you consider an enlightened being that can teach you, you ask them to please come. Still seated in your posture, you feel that they enter the room and they seat themselves on a cushion in front of you. Very aware of their presence, you feel their presence, your knees almost touching. It is just you and them, isolated, far away from everything. God light pouring on that room. You offer them something of beauty for having come, so in your mind you imagine the most beautiful thing. It could be as simple as a petal of flower to the skyline of the mountain range. That you think of something of beauty and you can see that they can perceive it directly in your mind. You think of an enlightened quality in your teacher, the highest quality you can think in them. Maybe it's their compassion. Maybe it's their reasoning. Maybe it's something you can't quite explain, but it gets turned on every time you're near them. And as you think about that high quality in them, you want to strive to achieve it, so you make a decision to look at your day and see what's obstructing you from achieving that quality. You think back at the last day or so and you look for a state of mind that was contrary to that you're seeking. Something you did or thought or said that stops you from being that higher enlightened you. Maybe you got angry at somebody, you lost your temper. Maybe you're overly judgmental of yourself or others. Whatever it is that disturbs your mind, you look back at a specific instance. With hindsight, you wish that you had not done that, with a strong sense of regret. You look at that moment and you make yourself a promise that the next time that opportunity arises, you will control yourself from behaving in that way, and that will help you. That will clear the way for that enlightened you to come. And you see that as a good thing. Finding the thing that stops you, building genuine regret, having awareness for your next time. And that's a good thing. With that state of mind, you now look for the most enlightened activity you've achieved in the last 2 days or so. What have you done that is in line to what you want to become? Where were you kind to yourself or others? Where were you honestly, genuinely truthful with yourself or others? When did you let love or compassion flow through you with that interest. And just feel joy that you have that capacity. Allow your heart to be grateful that you have that capacity. The fact that you have done some beautiful thing in your day means you could grow that quality in you to its highest form. And it could grow so much that it covers all of your mind and all of your experience and more. And in that you find joy. You imagine many people with the same quality or a higher quality growing their own, and you feel joy for them. And you realize that that is only possible because you were able to learn from those beings that teach you. So you ask your teacher in front of you to please always keep teaching. Whatever occurs in your life, the worst to the best experience, that you might hear their voice and learn and grow. And so you ask them to always stay close by. And they agree. And you ask for their guidance to consider the question: does your mind depend on your body? Does your consciousness arise when your body began? What do you really think? What's the first answer that comes? Does your mind stop if your body stops? Does consciousness always require a body like this one to be? The experience of being that you have, are they the chemicals in your brain, the electrical signals in your brain, producing the experience you have of being? Or do you genuinely believe? Is your mind somewhere inside your body? Is a part of your body? Find a location in your body where mind sits, where the source of mind comes. your body stops being, what would happen to this consciousness? If you did not have this body, what would you identify as you? Gradually bring back your awareness to your breath. Transform that golden room, make it fade away into the reality of this room, so it's like superimposed or sitting in the background. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. A lot of Tibetan today. Thanks for coming. Here we go. No review. Say Lukjung and Lukdok. So Lukjung means Luk means order. So obviously Luk means order in both, and Jung is forward, and Dok means reverse. So today's class is it's the 4 reasonings of the forward order. The 4 reasonings of the forward order. And it's not as in the order as in secret society order. It's the sequence, yeah, the order. So what did I say that Master Dharmakirti's book, commentary on Master Dignaga's book, was going to be mostly about? Do you all remember? No, it was going to be on his opening statement. Remember that opening statement? He had 5 qualities to a Buddha, which were
the one who
turned correct, because he helps all beings, because he's the teacher, the one who went to bliss, who was Hector Protector, right? Yeah. Right. He didn't say Hector Protector. I made that up. Yeah. Okay. So what Master Dharmakirti is going to do here, he's going to try and use this idea of Luk Chung and Luk Dok, forward order and reverse order, and apparently it takes about a year each way to argue forward order that you can become totally correct, a Buddha, if these things are in some kind of sequence. And just so you know, this idea of Luk Jung and Luk Dok comes from, or is most commonly known in Tibetan studies as the way you talk about the 12 links of dependent origination around the Wheel of Life painting. Do you know? Yeah? Who knows the Wheel of Life painting? Cool. And Luk Jung, forward order, says that what's the first link? Do you know the first link? Is the blind man on the stick. Ignorance. Yeah? He's ignorant of his environment. So he's the blind guy on the stick. That creates the guy making pots. Yeah? It's the second link of the 12 links of dependent origination. And that is fresh karma. Produces fresh karma. Yeah? So ignorance, not knowing certain thing, not knowing what? The way the world really works, makes us act towards the world stupidly, ignorantly. We think it works that way, so we start behaving towards the world in the wrong way, which produces karma, fresh karma. It produces us to have that result back. That's all it is. That's why things don't work. We don't know how they work. We think they work a certain way. We're ignorant of the way they really work. So we behave towards reality in an incorrect way, and we have as a result a life that's incorrect. It doesn't work all the time, properly, breaks down, etc. So, in a practical way, the first link is ignorance, not knowing how the world works. The second link is fresh karma, and then you have all the other links which create the the sense organs, the five heaps, form, which is mind and body, contact, feeling, all the way up to craving, all the way up to what's before craving? Feeling is the guy with the arrow on his eye. Craving, grasping after that. Yeah. So all these states of being are produced because we don't know how things work. So practically it means you're at work, or you're with your lover, or you're with your sister, your brother, or whatever, some other human, some other creature, right? So I'll tell you in a second what I overheard today. And they piss you off. Yeah, they say something, and something arises in you. I'll give you the perfect example. I'm sorry, I'm going to swear. Okay, I'm going to say a dirty word, but I overheard it. Okay, I'm sitting preparing for class. I'm talking about this stuff, and it's hot outside. Everyone's angry. All the not the fire hydrants. Yeah, the water is spraying all over Bushwick. Yeah, and someone beeps. I hear just beep, one beep. Right? Everyone's beeping. Yeah, and I hear a door slamming open and goes, "F you, I'll kill you, you bastard." That's all I heard. And then they shuts the door and goes back in. So the beep caused that guy to go, "I'm gonna kill you," yeah, to someone else. Right? Someone beeped, the person beeped at, got out of the car and went, "F you, I'm gonna," like, it was just those words. That's all I heard was beep, "F you, I'm gonna kill you, you bastard." I'm like, how can that beep produce that response? You know, how can beep create so much? And the ignorance is that the guy thought this anger, we all do this to our bosses, to our lovers. I feel this rage, I feel disappointed, I feel sad, I feel hurt. The ignorance says, it's you. It was the beep. It didn't come from anything else. It came from you. So I attack you. Just fresh karma starts building up. You must experience what you plant. And then goes the form and all the other, yeah? Until those things build up so much that they begin to force you to crave at things, right? You need to crave and grasp at things to try and get the same result in the ignorant way, yeah? So the traditional way of explaining forward order, reverse order is explaining that forward order is that ignorance, being yelled at. With ignorance, you interpret that as it's your fault, I'm yelling back at you, yeah? I feel attacked, I'm attacking you. Yeah? Are you with me? Forward order, that causes that, which causes all the five heaps, which causes more craving, because I've got to try and do that more and more and more to try and get a better result, but it's not working, but I'm going to try, yeah? Cause it all the way up to right karma, which is the 10th link, becoming, I think it was called. That's the pregnant woman, which meant the karma of the second link got so big that it's about to explode and give birth to something, which causes rebirth, which then causes old age and death, the last link. Yeah? So the forward order says, if you do that, that happens. If you do that, that happens. If you do that, that happens. And it explains why every being in samsara is stuck in the cycle of life and death. And it can be interpreted in smaller links as well. Traditionally, forward order goes to describe that. What's reverse order? What do you think reverse order would describe?
Starting at the other end.
Why?
You start with death, or you start with rebirth.
Death and old age is the 12th link. Rebirth is the 11th link. Becoming, or the pregnant woman, the karma that projects you into your next life is link number 10, becoming, which was produced by craving.
So it's showing where things come from.
Beautiful. So in reverse order, actually it's a bit deeper than that. It's saying the radical thing about this philosophy says, if you know that the true cause, not the ignorant cause, of life and birth and rebirth is the moment before, so you would not have age and old death without rebirth. You would not have rebirth without becoming. You would not have becoming if it wasn't for grasping. You wouldn't have grasping, etc., etc., all the way back up to karma and ignorance. So reverse order says if you stop that one won't happen. You want to stop death and old age, you have to stop rebirth. To stop rebirth, you have to stop becoming, which is those karmas on the second link getting so charged up with craving and ignorance. Does that make sense? If you stop that one, that stops that one, that stops that one, that stops that one. So you stop ignorance and you stop the whole cycle of samsaric existence, which means you are out of samsara, you're out of the cycle of suffering, and you are in a state of at least nirvana. That's traditionally what that means, forward order, reverse order. And that in itself is an amazing, incredible, beautiful teaching worth diving in. Yeah? It's magnificent. Just the idea of real cause and effect. If you stop that, that stops. If you stop that, that goes. Or that was produced because of that, and that was produced because of that. And that. If you want rebirth and old age and death, you got to act with ignorance. Yeah, and you got to plant some fresh karmas, and then you got to have some contact and craving and yeah. If you really want old age and rebirth over and over and over, make sure you respond with yelling to yelling. Yeah, with hatred to hatred. So that's forward. And what Master Dharmakirti is going to say now in his book, I'll just give you a quick summary because I always run out of time, is he's going to grab those 5 statements, which is the Buddha became a totally correct being because he helps all beings, he's a teacher, he's gone to bliss, he's the protector. And he's going to apply forward order and reverse order. And we're only going to cover the reverse order, which sort of looks forward. The forward order, which looks reversed. Okay? So, what was the last of the statements? So, the assertion is, he became totally correct because...
The last is that he's protector.
He's the protector, yeah? So, the last comment was, he's the protector. Are you with me so far?
Mm-hmm.
Yes? Okay, so the first one says, Tumpe, Chujin, Sema, Yurte. What the hell is that? Okay, say Tumpe, Chuchen, Semar, Yurte, Kyotpe, Yimpeche. Cool. So, whenever you debate, or whenever you, in the debate round, you have this whole method of saying things. So you say, consider the teacher, or take the teacher. I think we covered this on ACI 3. Consider the teacher. He became totally correct because he's the protector. So you say, consider this happened because of that. That's just a line of reasoning. And so you'll see that Tumpe Churchen come up all the time. So for you to know, Tumpe means teacher, which in this case means the Buddha. Chuchen means take, for example. Sema means totally correct, right? Sema? Yeah. Gyurte, turned into. Kyotpe means protector. And Yipe Etcher means because is because. Yeah? So Cher is because. Yimpe is. So the statement, this first statement is, consider the teacher or consider the Buddha. He became totally correct because he's the protector. Okay, let's see your analytical selves. Can someone become totally correct because they are the protector? How is the Buddha the protector? Can the Buddha protect you? How can the Buddha protect you?
By teaching you something.
Any other ways?
How not to suffer.
Okay.
Is he showing you the way?
What way?
He doesn't know the way.
So the assertion is he became totally correct because he's a protector, right? How is he the protector? How does he really protect you?
Is that like taking refuge in Buddha? So
We talked about it in refuge, awesome.
Right.
But how does he really protect you?
Protects from ignorance.
Huh?
From ignorance.
Teaching what?
The emptiness of
Teaching
your
what
own.
to give up and what to take up, right? So, which are the four arrow truths, right? But really, which one can you believe? All of them? You've got to be honest, right? It's only the first one. So just so you're clear why the line of logic says he turned totally correct because he's the protector. He can only protect you with that knowledge. And the only part of the core knowledge, the four arrow truths that he delivered, that you can confirm as being completely correct, utterly correct, totally correct, is the truth of suffering. He explained it so perfectly it fits you. So he argues, take the teacher or the Buddha, he became totally correct because he is the protector. Is that cool? Yep. Good. How do you know he is the protector? How could he be a protector? How could he get to a point where he could tell you what to take up and what to give up? How could he do that?
He turned to us.
Are you cheating?
No, I just pretend to.
Stop cheating. I want people to not know. No, I want you to know. He turned to bliss. So say Tumpe Chuchen Kyopa Yinte Dreame Pangpeche. Is that right? Yeah. Cool. Here we go. So yeah.
Because you turn to bliss and that's the answer and everyone's okay with that?
No, I'm just about to explain.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Really?
No. This is the part where it's explaining. Yeah. So
I know, but I just...
Yeah, no, it's good, it's good. The jump that we went from, he turned totally correct because he's the protector, we've identified what makes him a protector, right? Is that he teaches the first arrow truth correctly. And we have to trust with the limited mind that we have that because he did that so perfectly, he must know the other truth. That's really all you can do until you have a direct experience of them. Until then, really, you're guessing, yeah, but nobody else is offering you an alternative that's better than the description he gave. Yeah, so that's one. Then they say, well, he's the protector. How can he be that? Well, it's because he went to bliss, and that line that we just did is like teacher. Take for example, Kyope is protector, Yinta is Drima is bad qualities. The Drima, I think, comes from the word stink, to smell. To got rid of stinks. Yeah? What kind of stinks do you think he got rid of? And someone that turns to bliss would got ring of what stinks. Mental afflictions, excellent. Yep, mental afflictions, good. Pangpir means got rid of, because. Yeah. So this line says consider the teacher. He is the protector because he eliminated all bad qualities, which is from that statement a synonym for gone to bliss. Yeah. Let me give you a quick aside. What's Buddha in Tibetan? What's the word Buddha in Tibetan? Sangye. Sangye. Yeah, Sangye. You do it every class. Sangye has two parts. Yeah, Sangye. Sang is clear away, like you clear away sleep, like you clear away drink. Yeah, Sang, and Ge is wide. Sangye. Is that up there? No. So Sangye, the Tibetans chose to translate Buddha, wake up, to got rid of, clear away the sleep, yeah, clear away the delusion, and wide, covers all things. See what's happening here? There's two qualities there, right? Got rid of, which is what this is talking about, got rid of all the bad qualities. But then the other one is he knows all things, he covers all things, right? And when you divide the four aerial truths, remember last week, very briefly, we touched up a short sentence that covered the four aerial truths, which is what to give up and what to take up. The afflicted side, which is life is suffering and the cause of suffering, and the non-afflicted side, yeah, which was the it's a way to stop and the enlightenment side. Okay, good. That's just as an aside. 39, 40. So, how can he have gone to bliss? How can someone get to a state of gone to bliss? Assuming he did.
Not being
Remember what we're trying to figure out? He's trying to reason that one thing leads to another, that he became totally correct because he was the protector. And he argued he's the protector because
He's gone to bliss.
he's gone to bliss, otherwise he wouldn't know what to give up and to take up. He wouldn't know the four real truths, right? So now he's going to argue, how the hell did he get to bliss?
Because he's the teacher.
Huh? How do you get to bliss?
Is that because he's omniscient?
Yeah. It's the teacher, right?
He's a teacher,
Capital
right?
T.
Huh?
Capital T.
Capital T, the teacher. That's a stretch. I'm a teacher. We're not getting to bliss quickly. Thank you. So it's a code for a teacher of emptiness. He teaches the truth of reality. Beautiful. Thank you. Beautiful. Thank you. Wow. I thought you were asleep.
I'm not just sitting here.
I know. He's alive. That's awesome. So say after me, which is the next part. Tumpe Churchen. Dreamer Pangpe. Did you put Tong? Yeah. Tong Yi He, which is emptiness. Tumpe Yin Verche. Yeah. Eche. Good. So he says here, take the teacher or the Buddha. He has gone to bliss because he teaches emptiness. Are you with me so far? So he has totally correct. Why? He's a protector. But really, how can he ever teach us what to take up and what to give up? Because he's gone to bliss. He's had
Where's the suffering part? Where's the suffering component? Because he knows how to speak about suffering so well. That's why he's the protector.
That's it. Out of the four aerial truths that he speaks, what to give up, which is the suffering, what to take up, we cannot refute that as a truth. Everyone else at the time was saying, if you do this, the suffering will go away, but they don't really spend time saying, look at your condition. Don't pretend that things are okay. Really look at your condition, observe your reality, and from that basis, build a world. Don't pretend that you're not building a castle on a swamp. Yeah? So, this part he says, because he teaches emptiness, he has gone to bliss. That's interesting.
1 and 3 are kind of the same.
They're all sort of the same. They're all this kind of right? That is the,
2 and 3 feel
2 and 3 are the same. Yeah. It's
all
true.
the same.
It's all the same.
You see emptiness, you got it all.
Yeah.
But so he so he has gone to bliss, right?
Yep.
Because he teaches emptiness. How I don't see how eliminating all of his bad qualities is due to the fact that he teaches.
It's because he teaches emptiness. Yeah.
But the fact that he
which
teaches
implies what?
He has seen it.
He has seen
Okay.
emptiness. It's the only way you can. It's the only way you can have a direct experience of the four aerial truths, to know what you give up and what take up.
Yeah.
In fact, it's upon seeing emptiness directly, when you come out of that experience, you have 24 hours or 16, whatever the hours is, I don't know, yeah, that you begin to have an experience of these 4 real truths as truths. You realize everything in this experience is suffering. It's not like an idea. You have a visceral experience that, oh my God, everything I've been doing, getting out of the car and going, F you, I'll kill you, you bastard, was wrong. Like, that wasn't going to get you happy. That wasn't going to stop people honking at you. You realize, I've just been doing it all upside down. It's all just suffering. Everything I've ever done was just there to produce more of the same. So the first realization that as this life begins to bombard you again after seeing emptiness directly is that it's just suffering. I am suffering. This thing will end. It's just, I am it. And something caused it. It was me yelling at the bastard. And I know it. And then you have the realization, if that's true, I can stop it. I can cause something else to produce that. I can get out of that. And there's a way to do that, because you've just had the experience. So that keeps those 4 things come together. Because you saw emptiness directly, you know the 4 real truths. Because you are the teacher of emptiness implies you've seen emptiness. Yeah. So it's a good question. The hard thing for me about these concepts is that they are just ideas, like we just put words here. Seeing emptiness directly, the 4 real truths. It's not that. These are just skeletons for which you put experiences upon. They're like a tiny expression of the reality of that stuff. So please don't box it into a form of, I have to see emptiness at 3 o'clock. Yeah? It's honest, it's like available to you at any millisecond if you know how to get there. First you've got to sponge it in. Let it do its thing. You'll have that shelf full of stuff. Oh, I don't understand that. I mean, just leave it there. This system is produced to give you this experience. And it comes from you, which is bizarre. So he's the teacher. And the last one, how do you know that he's a teacher?
Because he teaches emptiness.
No.
Because he helps all beings.
Because he helps all beings. He wants to help all beings. You're like, damn it. He helps all beings. Which is that first of those qualities in Master, which is that next part, which is Tumpe Chuchen, Tonki Ni Yitumpa Yite, Tukje Jempo Yubeesha. Now, Tukje Chempo, do you see that there? So Tukje means compassion, yeah, or karuna in Sanskrit. And Chempo, what's Chempo? Chempo. You've heard it before. No. Chempo is great. It's Maha karuna. Chemmo.
No, it's the same word.
Chempo. It's written like that. It's Chemmo. Yeah, cool. So Tukte Chempo is Karuna Maha, or Maha Karuna, or great compassion. Yeah. So it says he's the teacher because he has great compassion. He has Maha Karuna, which is a synonym for he helps all beings. Yeah. So the 4 reasonings of the forward order say to you that if you want to become, or he argues that if you're going to become a being who is totally correct, omniscient, because he's discussed omniscience, etc., it is produced because you are a protector. Yeah? And you're only a protector because you know how to protect people. The only protection you can do is
Right, going to bliss.
going to bliss, having the experience. The only way you can go to bliss is because
You teach.
emptiness.
Because you know, because
And,
you've been there. Because you've been there.
Because you've been there and done that. The only way you can do that, the only way you can get enough build up for that is because you've got this thing, this Mahakaruna inside of you that says, by God, I want to help these people. He's saying, he's arguing, you can become enlightened, you can get omniscience, and the birthplace of that is compassion. There's something in you that says, I want to help. And then we'll talk a little bit after the break about compassion, Karuna and Mahakaruna. But he's saying here, in the argument of the forward order, to whoever he's arguing with, I can't remember now, you know, he's arguing that there is such a thing as a correct perception. That you can be a being of correct perception. That being, the quality of that omniscience is a changing thing. It's produced. It's not permanent. Remember those arguments, yeah? And he's saying this is how it's produced. It is produced because you want to protect people. The only way you can protect people is because you...
It's because you went to bliss.
You've had the experience. You can tell them what to take up and what to give up, and you only do that because you're the teacher, because you've seen emptiness directly, you've had a direct experience of reality, let's call it that. Yeah, it's the only way you know what to take up and give up. Otherwise you can't help them. You'll just be teaching them the same old crap like I'm doing. Yeah? Honest. And then the only way you even bother teaching is because you care. You have this compassion. You see people suffering. And you're part of it too, but you want to reach out and help. And so there's compassion and this great compassion. And he's arguing now, the basis of it all is compassion. And now we're going to find the Charikas who say, I don't know. Yeah. So I invite you, please, go take 15 minutes break, come back, and by God, I'm on time.
Nice.
Merry Christmas. Announcements.